Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
I've had quite a few hosts in my day, being online for, well, around 10 years, a little over 10 years. Host being like a place that has a web server. So when you come to chris.pirillo.com, that's not actually sitting somewhere inside my house. It's being hosted somewhere on my web host. And I've had a variety of relationships, been at a variety of web hosts. Some have been good, some have been, okay. I also have an email host, meaning my email, instead of me serving it up on the same server that serves up my web pages, I have it dedicated, an email host. And recently had decided to move to Rackspace based on the recommendation of a few friends. I've got to admit, David Lawrence from, well, you know David Lawrence, and then Andrew Edwards as well. People had said Rackspace, you know, they're fanatics. I was like, well, I like fanatics. Windows fanatics, Linux fanatics, Apple fanatics. I love fanatics. Fanatics are just so much fun. But they're specifically fanatical about support. That was their underlying, that's their whole premise, their whole reason for being. So I looked into it, and I asked my friend Greg Hughes from greghughes.net, I'm like, what do you recommend for this? Email hosting, and specifically Exchange hosting. And the reason why I wanted to have a hosted Exchange environment is because Ponzi and I wanted to share calendars. We use Outlook. The tasks are nice and integrated. The contacts are nice and integrated. It's a familiar environment. And more importantly, everything that we have sitting in our Outlook here is sitting on the server, so we can access it from anywhere. So when I asked specifically who I should turn to for hosted Exchange, people recommended a few places, but I ultimately decided on Rackspace, largely because of their support. And I can tell you, reason number one why I support being with Rackspace, and anybody who would decide to go with Rackspace, is because of their support. We've started so many email tickets, like, you know, in their web ticket, I guess, the web page for a support ticket, and they've followed up and responded to every one of them, whether or not the issue was resolved or not. It may have been an issue may have been having, or it may have been a system issue, or just trying to find our way around. They were very friendly. And then most recently, when I needed to get Exchange set up inside of Windows again, I decided to phone up somebody because I really couldn't get to the web very easily. I said, I need your help. I need to set this up. He's like, oh, it's okay. Here, go to this little website. I typed it in. It installed a little ActiveX control and allowed the guy to control my screen. So he's walking through it, and I was watching him do it. I'm like, this is great. And he was talkative and everything. And I was watching him at how he set it up so that I could set it up in the future. I'm like, wow, that was really cool. And understand, I think for our, you have to have a 5-account minimum for Exchange. And I think that's like $15 an account. Was that right, Jason? Something like that?
Yeah, it's a minimum 5, and they recommend a minimum 20, but you know, you don't have to do that.
And they just recently upped the minimum storage from 500 megabytes to a gigabyte. So you get even more now for your money, you know, on top of the support. So support is like world class. They're not kidding about that. I would have expected, you know, picking up the phone and getting directly to a technician that helped if I spent 15 times as much, but certainly not for around the $100 a month price point we're paying for the handful of Exchange accounts. Now, of course, you can tier however and whatever you need. It's just my needs are probably going to be different from yours. But in my opinion, that level of support with that much email storage for that price is a pretty good deal. So that's the second reason I would recommend Rackspace, is the price is really good. The third reason, the name. You know, when I was shopping around, I tend to go with names that are well-known because they're less likely to disappear. You know, I know people have recommended, oh, just, you know, go with so-and-so, Bob's Exchange hosting. I'm like, well, who's Bob? And he's going to be around here next week, and really, what's his background? You know, he may be cheap, but sometimes you get what you pay for. Well, in Rackspace's case, you definitely get more than what you pay for, no doubt about it. I mean, having dealt with email hosting and web hosting, these guys, they've got it going on. That third name, the name brand, is very, very important to me because I know they're not going to disappear tomorrow. The third reason, and this is the reason why I think Greg Hughes had recommended Rackspace to me for at least Exchange hosting, is because of their uptime. Like 99.9, I think they guarantee. For email, I don't even want an hour of downtime. Even 5 minutes of downtime, I'm freaking out, right? If I can't, like, I need my email. What's going on? Well, Rackspace, that's their whole thing. Support and uptime. I'm like, great, perfect, price point's awesome. So again, so far we're 4 for 4. And then, of course, number 5, and I think this is very important, especially when you're shopping around for a new service, whether it's web hosting, hosting your websites, whether it's email hosting, or, Exchange hosting, like in my case with Rackspace, make sure the host can expand with your needs. So as we get bigger, I knew that it would be easy to go to Rackspace and say, okay, we need a little more this way, or we need to go this way, or can we add on this service, can we add on this service? And they were quite flexible in getting to know how their system works, what they have to offer. I am much more inclined to, number one, recommend Rackspace. And I can tell you this too, I just got an email today from one of the people over there, Xavier Resendez, and he asked me personally, he said, if you have anybody that you know that might be interested in Rackspace, let me know personally. So maybe Xavier can work you out a deal, or just tell Xavier, or look for Xavier and tell him that Chris Pirillo sent you to Rackspace. Xavier Resendez. And if you want, email me, chris@pirillo.com. I'd be more than happy to forward on your information. Or, of course, leave a comment, follow up, whatnot, and I'll tell Xavier to keep scanning. And I'm going to see, I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if they run specials or coupons or whatever, but I will see if I can work out something for you, because I can almost guarantee everybody out there has likely thought about having a web host, maybe getting hosted Exchange or managed Exchange, or just changing their email providers or having their own email system. And I can tell you, I'm not kidding about this. No joke. These guys are for real. I've dealt with a lot of them before, and I think, to me, the support, the uptime, well, the price, it's all the things combined, really. I mean, now Wireless Packet and Lord Cat are on the line. I don't know if you've really had experiences with web hosts or email hosts at any level, but I know Jason, in working with Rackspace, Lord Cat, you felt the same way I have, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've just been their logo is fanatical about support, and they are absolutely fanatical about support. They'll follow up with you if you don't properly close a support ticket to make sure everything's working right. In fact, I even had a couple of Rackspace employees email me personally just to make sure everything was running all right. They really put an emphasis on support.
Yeah. Now, Wireless Packet, given all the things I've said, I mean, does that not make for a good host?
Oh, definitely it does. I mean, from the company, like, the things you're telling me and everyone in chat and everyone's watching, like your positive experiences with the company, I mean, it's a definite for someone who's looking to go with an Exchange environment for email, just to go with Rackspace. I have one question though.
Yeah.
Do they do the Outlook web-based email also?
Yes, they do. They have OWA 2003 right now, and a lot of the industry is, I mean, at the time of this recording, they haven't deployed Exchange 2007 server. You can still use Outlook 2007. Outlook Web Access is still 2003, largely because Service Pack 1 hasn't been released, and Rackspace, again, 99% uptime, solid stuff. So it's not good enough. If Rackspace isn't using it, trust me, it's not good enough. So I think that, and trust me, because I've been asking about that, because OWA 2003 is really only usable on Internet Explorer. Outlook Web Access 2007 is really good on Firefox and Safari and whatnot. But honestly, most of where I need to access Exchange is either on the desktop. I can also use IMAP over my iPhone. In fact, Apple Mail supports connecting to an Exchange server. Entourage currently does, although Entourage's current support for Exchange is kind of wonky. I've seen the next version of Entourage, and it seems to have better support for Exchange. The UI is still a little crazy, but then again, that's Microsoft and Apple. I don't know how they're pulling it off. Has nothing to do with Rackspace, but they are going to be moving to Exchange Server 2007 as soon as Service Pack 1 is released, as I'm sure most of the industry is as well. So yeah, that's a good question. That was one thing that I really can't wait to see. But I use Maxton on the desktop, so that's, for all intents and purposes, Internet Explorer 7.0.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a couple accounts with them.
Yeah, it's worth thinking about. I mean, we've got, like I said, we've got our own Exchange environment, but you have to admit for Exchange you have to have a minimum of 5. That's the thing, and we don't even have those 5 full, but we can reallocate those extra gigabytes to any of those accounts that are open. You just have to have a minimum of that.
Any
much.
account that gets an influx of messages more than another, you could just allocate the mailbox space.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That is true.
That's great.
That is correct.
That's great.
So at least from my understanding, yeah, Lord Cat.
How's the spam filtering been for you? Because I know you get a hell of a lot more email than I'll ever get.
You know, I've been using, Rackspace outsources that to appriver.com, and I'm not, this isn't Rackspace's fault. AppRiver, I think, has got some inherent usability problems, but since flipping on the spam filtering on the server, it has been a lot more manageable. Not perfect, but the great thing about using AppRiver for spam is I can sort by country of origin for the spam. So I sort by country, and then basically ignore China, ignore Pakistan, and I'm not saying if anybody out there from China or Pakistan is watching, email me from a .com address or something, because most of what I get from those countries are spam. And a million other countries, well, not a million, I'm obviously exaggerating, but I basically go to the United States and unknown and Canada, and that's where, I think the UK, United Kingdom, is usually where I catch most of the false positives, largely in United States and unknown. So that's and I've even emailed the product manager for AppRiver. He found out that I was blogging about AppRiver, and he says, "Well, I don't know why you're complaining about this on your blog." I'm thinking, well, you apparently don't know what having a blog is all about, then, huh? Anyway, if anybody else has any experiences with Rackspace, by all means, leave your suggestions or recommendations, and you're more than welcome to recommend any other provider, provided that you don't work for them. Here, and as I said before, Xavier Resendez is the person that you'd want to talk to. I'm going to work on something with him to see if I can, get some kind of coupon. If not, the price is still amazing, and I can hook you up directly with him on the inside. So let me know. Chris@Pirillo.com. Leave a comment, whatnot. And then you're also welcome to swing by the chat room. Sometimes people ask about web hosts or mail hosts, and they ask me what I use, and, well, the answer happens to be, for mail, Rackspace. It's that simple. And, yes, it is quite simple and relatively painless, I've got to admit. Much more painless than I thought it was going to be, migrating old email to the new one. Same email address, just a different host provider. That's kind of how it works. So the chat room is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can visit us anytime, day or night, as I just said. And that URL where you can find us chatting is live.pirillo.com. See you later.